Down there, life continues. The traffic is awful, stocks go on trading, and Star Trek is still showing.
Good morning, grade 8 learners. Welcome to our today's natural science lesson. My name is Milton Gomo. This lesson is brought to you by Gauteng Department of Education. Let us go through the structure of our lesson today. The knowledge area for our lesson is planet Earth and beyond. The topic, the solar system, and the subtopic, the sun, objects around the sun, at this position in the solar system. That's the structure for our lesson. Let's get started and let's put our activity books in place. Let's go through our lesson's objectives. By the end of the lesson, we are supposed to be able to explain how the sun emits light and heat energy. We are supposed to be able to describe the structure of the sun. We also have to be able to identify the 8 planets which are found in our solar system, and also we have to be able to differentiate between terrestrial planets and gas planets. And finally, we are supposed to be able to explain why only the planet Earth is able to sustain life. These are the objectives of the day. Our source of our lesson, we also have to consider the source of our lesson, KEPS document, page 53. Now, let's go through the pre-knowledge that we're supposed to recall as we go through our lesson. This is going to help you to remember the basics of this lesson and also being able to understand the lesson as we move through. You have to recall what you learned in grade 6 under the solar system, systems for looking into space, and systems to explore the moon and Mars. Before we go into our lesson in detail, we're going to quickly answer a baseline activity. We've got 3 questions for that baseline activity. We're going to use the pre-knowledge that we have, that we learned in prior grades, grade 6. We are supposed to use that knowledge to answer those questions under baseline activity. Those are 3 questions given there. Number 1 says, name the 8 planets which are found in our solar system. Number 2, we are supposed to state which planet is closest to the sun. Then finally, we are supposed to state whether is the sun a planet or a star. Let's quickly do that activity. Only 3 minutes for that one. Then we'll get back to look at the corrections. Let's get started with that activity. Right, welcome back. I know that by now we are all done that activity. Let's go through our responses and also send us your responses through our WhatsApp number 079 578 2908. 079 578 2908. That's where you can send your responses. Right, let's go through the activity and check out all the answers we're supposed to indicate there. Number one, you're supposed to name the 8 planets in our solar system. Let's look at the answer there. It's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Those are the 8 planets which are found in our solar system. Then number 2, we're supposed to state which planet is closest to the sun. And that planet is Mercury. That's the planet which is closest to the sun. Finally, is the sun a planet or a star? The sun is a star. Right, keep it up for those who did very well, and those who not get all the questions correct, note down the corrections as we move on to our lessons terminology. These are the new words and vocabulary we're supposed to master and use in understanding as we go through our lesson. The first one, we are going to define the sun. The sun is defined as the medium-sized star, which is found at the center of the solar system. Thus, the definition of the sun. Then define nuclear reaction. This one is a type of reaction in which the nucleus of an atom changes its characteristics and becomes different. Thus, nuclear reaction. Then let's define the solar system. We talk about the sun and the planets and the other objects that move around the sun. All those make up our solar system. Let's move on as we continue with our terminology. The planet. How do you define the planet? The planet is defined as a rounded body traveling around a star in a clear circular path. That's a planet. Let's define the orbit. This one is an oval-shaped pathway or journey that the planet takes as it moves around the sun. That's how we define the orbit. Then let's define terrestrial planets. These are planets that have solid rock surfaces. These are called terrestrial planets. Then we have to define also another group of planets which are called the gas planets. These are planets that are mainly made of gas with small cores of rock materials. That is the terminology you're supposed to master and remember all the time. Right, let's move on as we go through the detail of our lesson. We're going to look at the sun. Remember, we just defined the sun as a medium-sized star which is found at the center of our solar system. And now we have to find out more about the sun. The sun is a big star which produces light and heat. It produces light and heat. We're familiar with the sun. As you can see there in the pictures, we've got a picture of our sun being shown there. And if you see aside around it, there's rays of light that are emitted from the sun. And you can also see at the far right there, we've got the sun showing, is glowing the way it is burning there. And there's some planets which seem to be orbiting around the sun. Thus, what the sun does, it produces light and heat energies. These are the two forms of energy that the sun produces. Let's look at the size of the sun as we compare it to the size of our own planet Earth. How big is the sun compared to our planet Earth? We can now realize that if we were to compare the sun to our planet Earth, the sun is so huge. We can visualize the sun as a soccer ball and our planet Earth as the size of a pinhead, as you can see shown there. Right, now you can imagine how big is the sun. If we were to take it as a soccer ball, while our planet Earth is just as small as that pin-sized head there, right? So you can see that the sun is so huge if we are to compare it to the planet Earth, and also the distance from the Earth to the sun is a very massive distance of about 150 million kilometers. So these two, planet Earth and the sun, are separated by that massive distance of 150 million kilometers away. Even though they are so much away from each other, we are still able to experience the heat from the sun and also to experience the light from the sun. You can now see that the energy produced by the sun is so big. Right, let's move on as we look at how the sun is able to produce heat and light energy. What happens for the sun to be able to produce heat and light energy? Inside the core of the sun, we've got hydrogen nuclei, which is fused and fused to form a new helium nucleus. So what takes place there is what is called a nuclear reaction. The nuclear reaction takes place in the core of the sun, whereby we have got the hydrogen nucleus being bent down, squeezed through nuclear fusion, and then a new nucleus is formed altogether. This time around, it's a helium nucleus. This takes place when, as you can see from the diagram there, we've got heavy hydrogen atoms, and then what happens? They undergo nuclear fusion. Those atoms undergo nuclear fusion. Then, after the reaction is complete, we have got energy being released. Heat energy is being released, shown by that diagram there, as you can see. Then we've got a new nucleus altogether being formed. This time around, it's a helium nucleus. So inside the core of the sun, we've got hydrogen nuclei squeezed and fused to form a new helium nucleus. That's how the sun is able to produce heat and light energy. Right, let's go in detail as we look at the structure of the sun. The sun is not solid like the earth, but it is a massive ball of glowing gases. If you see at the core of that diagram there, as you can see there is a burning that's taking place there. And at the center of it, that's where we've got that huge burning taking place, whereby we've got a lot of heat being released. That's how the sun is able to produce heat energy. You also have to note that we've got two gases which are found within the structure of the sun. These are hydrogen gas and helium gas. These are the two gases that we've been talking about that undergo nuclear reaction process. Right. Also, we have to note that the core of the sun is its hottest part. This is where hydrogen changes into helium. Then, when this reaction is complete, heat and light energy move from the core towards the outer surface, and these are then released to the space. Then, now we can come to our first activity. Remember, we just answered the baseline activity using the pre-knowledge. Now we're going to answer the activity using the information that we've just shared in this lesson. This activity is also 3 questions. Number 1, you're supposed to name gases that the sun is mostly made of. And number 2, you're supposed to discuss how the sun emits large amounts of heat and light energy. Then finally, number 3, you're supposed to state why it is not advisable for us to observe the sun using our naked eyes. Why can't you observe the sun by looking directly at it? We're going to have 4 minutes for that activity, then quickly answer it. Let's get busy. Welcome back. Let us go through activity and check all the responses that we're supposed to indicate there. In number 1, we're supposed to name the gases that the sun is mostly made of, and these 2 gases are helium and hydrogen gases. These are the 2 gases which are mostly found in the sun. Right, number 2, we're supposed to discuss how the sun emits large amounts of heat and light energy. This is done through a process of nuclear fusion, which creates heat and light. Then finally, we're supposed to state why we can't observe the sun by looking directly into it. Right, it's because we're avoiding a permanent damage to our eyes. Remember, we cannot look at the eyes, we look at the sun using our naked eyes because we can suffer a permanent damage to our eyes. That's the activity and the responses. Keep it up for those who did very well, and for those we did not get all the responses correct, write down the corrections. Let's move on. As we look into the solar system in detail, the sun and the objects in the region of space around it are known as the solar system. So our solar system comprises of the sun and the other objects which are found in the region of space. And these objects are always found orbiting around the sun and within the solar system. The sun is the largest object in our solar system. The sun is found at the center of the solar system. If you look at that picture shown there, you can see we've got our sun, and then away from the sun, we've got those planets that are indicated there. You can see the orbits that each planet use as they move around the sun. And now all those objects, they are found orbiting around the sun, and together with the sun, they make up what is called the solar system. Due to the massive size, its large gravitational pull causes the planets and other objects in the solar system to orbit around it. If you go back to that picture, you can see that all those planets, they've got their individual orbits. That means that each of those planets is able to move around the sun using its own circular path. And remember, those circular paths are called orbits. Now, let us look at how an object can be referred to as a planet. For an object to be able to be called a planet, it's supposed to be able to move around the sun in a clear circular path. Remember, those circular paths are called orbits. So all those planets, as indicated there, they are all able to move around the sun using their own orbits there. So once an object is referred to as a planet, one, it is supposed to be able to move around the sun through its own orbits, and also supposed to be able to possess its gravitational pull effect. Right. So those are the planets that we're talking about. You can see from the diagram there, they are all located in different orbits, and they are also having different sizes. We're going to look at them in detail. As we move on with our solar system, we have to recall that we have got 8 planets which are found orbiting around the sun. And these 8 planets are, we've got Mercury, we've got Venus, we've got the planet Earth, our very own planet. And remember, our planet Earth is the only planet which can sustain life. We've got planet Mars. Then we've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn, we've got Uranus, and then finally we've got Neptune. There. Those are the 8 planets which are found within our solar system. The planets are different in size, and they also rotate on their own axis as they revolve around the sun, and they also revolve around the sun at different speeds and have their own orbit, which means that each planet is able to move around the sun in its own orbit and in its own speed. The speed is affected by their sizes as well as their distance from the sun. Those are the 8 planets. Let's move on as we try to look at those 8 group of planets, those 8 planets, and find out how they are grouped. These 8 planets are grouped into 2 groups, and these groups have got their own special features. Hence, these planets were classified in those individual groups in terms of their special features. Let's look at the first group of planets. These planets are called the inner rock planets. Which planets make up the group of inner rock planets? The inner planets are the 4 planets which are found closest to the sun. Hence, they are called the inner planets because they are the nearest to the sun. Right, let us name them. These 4 inner rock planets are Mercury, Venus, Mars, and our very own planet Earth. Remember that Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, followed by Venus, followed by planet Earth, then finally comes Mars. And these 4 planets are all grouped into a very special group which is called the inner rock planets. Why are they called rock planets? It's because most of their surface is rocky, and therefore they are given a special term to that. They are referred to as the terrestrial planets. Terrestrial planets are those planets whose surfaces is mainly made up of rock, and they are the closest to the sun. Hence, their name inner rock planets. Don't forget those planets. We've got Mars, planet Earth, as shown in the picture. We've got Venus, then we've got Mercury. Now, since we've grouped these planets into 2 groups, this was the first group. The last group of these planets, these are called the outer gas giants. These are called the outer gas giants. Right, there are 4 of them, and these are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These 4 planets make up this other special group of planets, which is called the outer gas giants. Why are they called gas planets? It is because their surface is mainly made up of gas, hence the name gas planets. Now you can realize something from their name. There's that other word, giants. Why are they referred to as giants? These planets are so big. Look at the picture there. We've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn, we've got Neptune, then we've got Uranus. Those are the giant planets we're talking about. Their surface is mainly made of gases, hence the name the outer gas giants. Those are the classification of our planets. Let us look at the planets in detail, one by one, as we go through their individual features and the properties. Now, the first one, we're going to look at Mercury. Remember, Mercury is the one which is closest to the sun. Mercury is so close to the sun that's now why its orbit is very short. Mercury is closest to the sun, and then that makes it to have a very short orbit. What else do you need to know about the Mercury? It orbits the sun in only 88 days, compared with 365 days that the Earth uses or takes as it moves around the sun. So with those number of days, you can now understand why Mercury is so close to the Sun, because of the days of rotation around the Sun. They are very few, only 88 days. Go to planet Venus. What you need to know about this planet. Over the years, the rotation period of planet Venus was not known until 1962, on the advent of the radar. Then we came to know about the rotation period of planet Venus. This planet has got a revolution period of 255 days around the Sun. It takes 255 Earth days for Venus to move around the Sun. As we go to our very own planet Earth, what we need to know about planet Earth. The Earth makes one rotation on its axis in 24 Earth hours. That's why our day here on Earth is 24 hours long, because the Earth takes 24 hours to rotate through its axis. And also we have to know that it takes about 365 days for planet Earth to move around the Sun. And remember that planet Earth is the one which is the planet which can only offer or sustain life. It is the one planet which can sustain life. And then also we have to note that planet Earth is third closest to the Sun, the first being Mercury, then we've got Venus, then comes planet Earth. Let's go to planet Mars. This one has got a length of a day which is 24.5 Earth hours, which means it takes 24.5 Earth hours for planet Mars to rotate through its axis. The length of a year on Mars is 687 Earth days. It takes 687 Earth days for planet Mars to move around the Sun. Let's go to planet Jupiter. This one is the fastest planet in rotation as compared to these other 7 planets. Despite its vast size, it is able to rotate at 9.8 hours through its axis. Hence, Jupiter is the fastest planet to rotate around the Sun. It takes Jupiter 12 Earth years to orbit the Sun, which is a very, very small number. That's why Jupiter is so fast if you are to compare its period of rotation with the other 7 planets. Let's go to planet Saturn. This one rotates on its axis once every 15 hours. If you take a look at that picture there of Saturn, you can see that it's having some beautiful rings across it or around it. That's how it is structured. It takes 29.46 Earth years to orbit the Sun for Saturn. And then we come to planet Uranus. This one does not rotate at a slight angle. It does not rotate. It only rolls around the Sun like a giant structure. That's planet Uranus. It does not rotate around the Sun. In the summer, the Sun does not set for 21 years on Uranus. We have to find out why. It's because the Sun shines first on the planet's one pole, then on its equator again. Then that makes each pole to have 21 years of sunshine, followed by 21 years of days and night. That's Uranus. Then finally we come to planet Neptune. This one is the furthest planet away from the Sun. Let's find out why it is so far away from the Sun. It takes more than 4 billion kilometers away from the Sun for Neptune to rotate. And it takes about 165 years for Neptune to complete its rotation around the Sun. Hence the distance that's between the Sun and the Neptune is so big. That's why Neptune is situated furthest away from the Sun as compared to other planets. It rotates on its axis quite fast, although on rotation it takes only 17 Earth hours. That's planet Neptune. Then with that being said, we come to the idea of the moons. Remember that these planets, they have got moons that orbit around them. Let's find out about the moons which are found in the solar system. Some planets in the solar system have got many moons. Most moons are small, perhaps only a few kilometers across. Several planets have large moons orbiting around them in the same way that the moon orbits the earth. If you take a look there in that picture, we've got planets, we've got Mercury there, then we've got its moons, as you can see, its moons there. We've got Saturn and its moons, we've got Uranus and its moons. Also, we've got Jupiter that side and its moons, as well as Pluto, which is not classified as a planet anymore, but now referred as a dwarf planet, and you can see the moons around it there. Let's take a look at what are called the dwarf planets. Dwarf planets are space bodies that are big enough to have sufficient gravity to pull the mass into a spherical shape, but they're not big enough for this gravitational effect to push away other objects from its orbital path. Why are they called dwarf planets? Because the energy they have is not enough to push away other objects from their orbital pathway. If you take a look at the picture there, we have got a few examples of dwarf planets. We've got Pluto. Remember, Pluto was earlier on classified as other planets, but then later on, because of its characteristics, it was classified under dwarf planets because its properties are of a dwarf planet. We've got other dwarf planets that are shown on the picture there. Eris, as you can see it, and Ceres, and these other two shown over there. Let's move on and look at other objects which are found within our solar system. These objects are called asteroids. What are asteroids? These are objects which are made up of large rock, and they are found in the outer space. Most asteroids are found in a region called the asteroid belt. This region is found in between planet Mars and planet Jupiter. That's where you find this region, which is called asteroid belt. That's where the asteroids are found. Now, there is a picture which is showing the asteroids there. As you can see, they are mainly rocky objects which are found in the outer space. Those are asteroids. We've got other objects which are also found in the space within our solar system, and these are called comets. Comets are objects made up of dust and ice, and they look like dead snowballs. Many comets orbit the sun like the planets, but they've got long stretched out orbits. We can only be able to observe the comets during that period when they come closer to the sun. That's where those comets are visible. But then with time, as they move away from the sun, we're not able to see the comets. They also orbit around the sun. Let's come to activity number 2. In this activity, you are supposed to name the planets in order from the closest to the sun to the furthest from the sun. And then you're supposed to state the planets which are referred to as terrestrial planets. And number 3, you're supposed to state 2 conditions on Earth that makes it a suitable planet to support life. Let's have also 4 minutes for that one and quickly answer that activity. Welcome back. Let us go through our activity and check out the solutions to each of those questions. Number one is supposed to name the planets in order from the closest to the sun to the furthest from the sun. Right. Let us look at the response for that one. This is the arrangement of the planets from the closest one to the furthest. The closest one is Mercury, followed by Venus, followed by planet Earth, followed by Mars, followed by Jupiter. We've got Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. That's how the planets are arranged from closest to the furthest. Number two, supposed to state which planets are called terrestrial planets. Remember, terrestrial planets are those planets which are found in the inner region of space around the sun, and also they are referred to as terrestrial planets because of their rocky surfaces. These planets are Mercury, Venus, planet Earth, and Mars. Number three, we supposed to state which conditions make our planet Earth being the only planet that is suitable to support life. And these conditions are, it contains a large supply of oxygen, and we've got abundant water. These two conditions make our own planet to be the only planet that is suitable to support life. Just write corrections, and for those did well, keep it up. Let's move on. As we look at our planet Earth in detail, life on Earth, and how life is supported on Earth. The Earth is the third planet that is found closest to the sun. Remember, the first planet closest to the sun is Mercury, followed by Venus, then planet Earth comes third. Planet Earth is believed to be the only planet that is able to support life. Why is planet Earth the only planet that is able to support life? We go through the conditions that makes it possible for planet Earth being the only planet to support life. One, we've got a moderate temperature that the planet Earth offers. The Earth's distance from the sun provides the ideal temperature range to support life, although it can have other factors such as the planet atmosphere, but the temperature that is offered by the sun is moderate and makes it possible for planet Earth to be able to support life. We also look at the sunlight energy that's released by the sun. Remember, we said the sun produces heat and light energy. That sunlight energy is emitted by the sun all the way to our very own planet Earth. This sunlight energy is used in the food chains here on Earth. As you can see here, if you look at that diagram where we've got sun, the sun is being shown there as it is releasing heat energy to the plants there. We've got a very beautiful plant background shown there, and the sun is releasing energy to the earth, and that energy is used by the plants as they make their own food. Remember, plants make their own food. We talked about this process, which is process of photosynthesis, right? So for the plants to be able to make their own food, they need sunlight energy. And then in turn, these plants are eaten by animals, and then the energy is transferred through the food chain. That's how important is this sunlight energy. Also, we have to know that for the plants to be able to survive, and also for them to be able to photosynthesize or make their own food, they need oxygen, and planet Earth has got enough oxygen. Actually, it is the only planet that provides oxygen, right? And this oxygen is released when plants make food or when plants photosynthesize. We can have a look at that beautiful picture. You can see those beautiful plants, as green as they are, as beautiful as they are, they use the energy from the sun as well as the water which is abundant on earth, and then during that process of photosynthesis, they are able to produce oxygen, which they release to the animals. All right, let's look at activity number 3. This activity, I only going to spend 3 minutes. It's just a few questions, and we've covered everything in detail. Number 1, it says, for which process do plants use light energy from the sun? Number 2, give 3 reasons for life existing on Earth and not on other planets in the solar system. Let's quickly go through that activity. 3 minutes for that. Welcome back. Let us go through our activity and check out the correct responses to each of those questions. Question number 1, we're supposed to state which process do plants use light energy from the sun for. Right. That process is the process of photosynthesis. Remember, this is the process whereby plants manufacture their own food. Right. Number 2 is supposed to give 3 reasons why planet Earth is the only planet that can support life. Right. Responses for that one: we've got moderate temperature, we've got enough water, and enough oxygen, which is only found on planet Earth. Those are the solutions to our activity. For those who did well, keep it up. And those who did not get everything correct, remember to note down the corrections. As we move on, let's get to the summary of our lesson and recall everything that we just discussed. Right. we spoke about the sun as a medium-sized star. We also spoke about that, like other stars, the sun produces large amounts of light and heat. These are produced continuously, which means that the sun does not stop to produce and release heat and light energy. It does so throughout. Right. The energy in the sun comes from powerful nuclear reactions during which hydrogen gas changes into helium gas. Remember the nuclear reaction where we said that the hydrogen atoms go through nuclear fusion and then they are bent into helium atoms. A variety of objects surround the sun, including 8 planets and their moons, dwarf planets, asteroids, and comets. Remember, we spoke about those 8 planets. I'm sure by now we're all able to list them from closest to the furthest, those 8 planets. And also, we've got the moons and the dwarf planets, asteroids, and comets. All these are found within our solar system and they are found orbiting around the sun. All the objects in the solar system have their own special features. So that's what we have to know, that those objects, each and every one of those objects have got their own special features. The sun rotates at the center of the solar system and all other objects orbit around it in the same direction. The sun is found at the center of our solar system. Recall that. Then we've got the force of gravity, which keeps all the objects in the solar system in their stable orbits around the sun. As we continue our summary, let's go to the planet Earth. We have to recall that planet Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun. The first being Mercury, followed by Venus, then planet Earth. Earth is the only planet known to support life. Remember those conditions that we talked about them? They are only found within planet Earth. We spoke about moderate temperature, we spoke about abundant water, as well as oxygen. These conditions are only found in planet Earth. At this distance from the sun provides the ideal temperature range. Water is found in 3 phases of planet Earth. It is found as a liquid, it is found as a gas, it is found as a solid. So those are 3 phases that water is found in our planet Earth. The sunlight provides the energy for the food chain. Remember, the plants use the sunlight energy to photosynthesize. Then the plants feed, the animals feed on plants, and then by so doing, energy is transferred, and that makes up a food chain. Oxygen is available for life processes, and only planet Earth is able to supply oxygen. Thus, makes it so suitable for it to be the one planet to support life. Remember to keep in touch with us through our WhatsApp number. Recall that WhatsApp number 079-578-2908. Send all responses of those activities. With that being said, we come to the homework of the day. We are going to do this homework, submit it when you come for our next lesson. Let us look at the homework questions as you copy them. Let's go through them. Number 1, it says, are the temperatures on the terrestrial planets all similar? We have to explain. Number 2, discuss how the sun emits large amounts of heat and light energy. Then finally, supposed to describe how the energy is formed and then released from the sun to the earth. Those are the homework questions. Copy them down. I'll give you 2 minutes for that one. Just a minute is fine. I know that you've been copying them down while I was going through them. Right. Those are the homework questions. Submit the homework as we come to our next lesson. Our next lesson will be looking at the Milky Way galaxy. Let's go and research, find out more about these topics, so that when we come for our next lesson, we are all ready and we've got knowledge of what we're talking about. With that being said, we come to the end of our today's lesson. Thank you so much. See you next time.